I call this place Mike's House of Monsters. I want to say the true madness started in 2011 when my best friend Joe and I went to our first G-Fest. G-Fest is probably the biggest Godzilla-themed convention in the United States, and it's held annually every year in Chicago. And once I saw how huge that dealer's room was, and I saw all those toys, boy, let me tell you, it was over. The rest is history. I've also been to Japan twice for the premieres of both Shin Godzilla in 2016 and most recently in 2023 for Godzilla Minus One. And each trip I've had so much fun, and I've always had to bring something home with me. My only thing is, let's see what 2026 brings when I go back, hopefully. My name is Mike Ross, and I've been a Godzilla fan since I was 4 or 5 years old. And just like most kids at that age, I was a huge dinosaur fan. Strangely enough, though, I had never watched a Godzilla movie until after I got my very first toy, which was the 12-inch Imperial Godzilla 1985. And from the moment that I laid my eyes on this unique-looking toy, I knew Godzilla was special. And once I popped in my first and all-time favorite Godzilla movie in the VCR, Godzilla 1985, the course of history was altered for me, and things would never be the same again. You know, over the last 70 years, Godzilla has been a metaphor for atomic testing. Say, an embodiment of consequences for all of mankind. Yet, at the same time, Godzilla has also evolved into a heroic monster when the world needed him the most, against the likes of, say, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, Hedorah, Space Godzilla. The list of enemies are almost endless. You see, Batman's my favorite superhero. And just like him, Godzilla's very similar. They both blow up stuff and they beat the crap out of their enemies. I think it's cool as hell. To me, Godzilla represents the strength inside of all of us. He commands respect, he shows leadership. His parenting skills are sometimes questionable. And he powerhouses through whatever comes his way. Yeah, there's times where in his movies, he's pissed off. But as human beings, don't we feel that way sometimes too? As a kid, I've collected here and there. But if you were to tell that young boy when he grew up to be an adult, he'd have a Godzilla collection beyond everyone's wildest dreams, he'd probably freak out. Probably think he's in heaven. So for the most part, I try to keep my collection organized by Godzilla movies in order by year of release. You'll find just about anything in my collection, mainly figures, but also high-end statues, original movie posters, books, autographs, movies in the form of 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, soundtracks, CDs, vinyl records, video games. Hell, even a pinball machine and a Godzilla Mr. Potato Head reside here. It's almost like walking into a museum. There's a little bit of everything, both nostalgic and new. Bandai to X+, Marmot to Mondo, Prime 1 to Easy Hobby, NECA to Playmates. I have several favorite items in my collection. But you know, it'll take me forever to say, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like that, I like that. But the three items that really stand out the most in my collection is the 1989 Godzilla Kyoto, also known as the Big Guy. It's approximately 3.5 feet tall, 6 feet long. It's such a beautiful centerpiece, and I couldn't ask for a better piece of memorabilia in my collection. So then naturally, my autograph collection of all the people that played Godzilla. They're probably the nicest people you could have ever met. Haruo Nakajima, he played the original Godzilla from 1954 to 1972. He's amazing. And, you know, when I met him, I really don't fanboy when I meet famous people. But him, I had every excuse in the world to fanboy because he's the one that started it all. And lastly, the absolute oldest item in my collection is an original one-sheet theatrical poster for Godzilla King of the Monsters from 1956. So for those who are not familiar with the movies, this is the Americanization of when Raymond Burr was edited into the original film in 1954. As of this recording, I'm shy of 40 years old, and that little boy who was introduced to Godzilla is still very much alive and kicking. We are currently 38 Godzilla movies in. That's unbelievable. We have 2 more Godzilla movies on the way in the forms of Godzilla Minus Zero from Japan, and then Godzilla and Kong Supernova from Monsterverse. And just like Godzilla, I don't ever see myself slowing down when it comes to collecting. And if it wasn't for Godzilla, I wouldn't be that person that I am today. Godzilla will never die, and neither will my passion.